I used to think I didn't have time to declutter until I realized how much energy I was spending keeping things I no longer needed. When you're already tired, figuring out what to declutter today can feel like one more decision you don't have room for. But sometimes letting go of just a few obvious things, the broken, the expired, the stuff you've been avoiding, is enough to give your mind a little breathing space. In this video, I'll walk through a few simple things I quietly toss on garbage day. No pressure, no big clean out, just a low-effort way to make space where it counts. Clear the expired stuff first. It's hard to feel calm in a kitchen where every shelf feels like a decision. That's why I started with the most obvious category: expired food. This one's easy, not emotionally, but practically. You don't have to justify it. You don't have to decide whether you might use it. If it's expired, it's done. And tossing it gives your brain a win. You took action, and nothing bad happened. I now do this quietly every Sunday night while making my grocery list. If something's expired, it goes. If I'm never going to use it, it goes too. It takes less than 10 minutes, and the shelf feels lighter every time. This small shift helped me realize that decluttering doesn't have to be dramatic. It can be built into things I already do. The drawer you avoid opening. Every home has a drawer bin or basket that slowly fills with random, unclassifiable stuff. You don't know exactly what's in there, but opening it always feels overwhelming. The miscellaneous zone is often where clutter hides the longest. Because it's not about big decisions, it's about a pile of small ones you don't want to face. Now I do a quick scan during garbage day. Not a full clean out, just one or two things that are clearly junk. A dried up glue stick. An old charger I don't recognize. Tossing even a couple items keeps the drawer from turning into a black hole. No big commitment. Just a habit that makes the rest of the space easier to use. From there, I shift into the next area with more clarity. Why are you still keeping the broken one? I didn't realize how many broken things I was still storing, even after I'd bought the replacement. Old earbuds. A cracked mug I meant to glue. The curling iron that only works if you hold the cord just right. I kept telling myself I'd fix them or use them as backup, but honestly, I never did. They just sat there taking up space and reminding me of unfinished chores. Now if I've replaced it, the old version goes, no ceremony, no guilt, just out. It's one of the simplest ways to give myself a sense of completion, no repair required. The return boxes you forgot about. I used to keep every box just in case. Return labels, bubble wrap, cardboard inserts, all piled in corners because I told myself I might need them. But weeks would pass, and the return deadline would slip by. The boxes stayed. Not because I needed them, but because I felt bad throwing them away, like I was wasting something. Now I give myself a firm cutoff. If the return isn't happening this week, the box goes. Not everything needs to be recycled into a perfect system. Sometimes the space you get back is worth more than squeezing one more use out of packaging you didn't even want to begin with. When the project just isn't happening. We all have those items that sit around quietly judging us: the half-knitted scarf, the DIY kit, still in its shrink, wrap the empty frames you swore you'd fill. They start as good intentions. But when they linger too long, they stop feeling like inspiration and start feeling like failure. That mental drag, the I should get to, that adds up fast. What helped me was this. I started being honest about what I no longer want to finish. If a project makes me feel heavy instead of curious, I let it go. Someone else can enjoy it, or it can just go in the bin. The relief of releasing a stalled idea is bigger than the guilt of giving it up. That freebie. You didn't ask for, you didn't buy it, you didn't ask for it. But somehow, it ended up in your space, a branded mug, a sample-size lotion, a calendar you'll never use. Freebies often slip past our mental filters because we don't associate them with a cost. But they do cost us space energy and decision fatigue. Now I pause when something new comes in. Would I actually choose to own this? If not, it doesn't get stored. It gets tossed or donated before it even settles in. One small change, but it's made my home feel more intentional, like I'm curating instead of just absorbing. Okay, back to our rhythm. The guilt pile. You don't even like some items aren't useful. They aren't sentimental. They're just hard to throw away. A half-used candle, a free tote bag, that set of cheap pens that barely work. You don't want them, but tossing them feels wrong, like you're being wasteful. Here's what I remind myself. Keeping something I don't use doesn't undo the waste. It just extends it. Letting it go thoughtfully, kindly, and without self-judgment closes the loop. The guilt quiets down once the object is gone, and I'm not reminded of it every time I open a drawer. Sometimes peace of mind is the most responsible choice you can make. Preparing for a life you're not living. This was the hardest category for me. Not because of the stuff, but because of the stories. What if I need it someday? What if I can't replace it? What if I finally become the kind of person who uses it? But that future never came. Meanwhile, my present was full of backups, duplicates, and things I never touched. Slowly, I began asking myself something new. Is this item solving a problem I have right now, or one I'm afraid might happen? Most of the time, I could let it go. And the space I gained. It didn't just clear shelves. It calmed my thinking. I realized I wasn't preparing for failure anymore. I was making room to live today. The gift that turned into clutter. It sounds generous in theory. Oh, I'll give this to someone. But weeks or months later, it's still in your hallway, still in the trunk of your car, still waiting for the right moment or person. These pending gifts often start with good intentions. But if the handoff keeps getting delayed, it's worth asking, am I actually planning to give this away or just postponing the decision to let go? Now, I set a simple rule. If I don't have a person and a plan, within a week it goes straight to donation. The gift becomes freedom, not another task I'm avoiding. Once I started doing this, I noticed how much mental clutter disappeared along with the physical. Less guilt, less waiting, more follow-through. The price tag. That's still haunting. Some things feel too valuable to get rid of, even if we're not using them. The fancy moisturizer that irritated your skin. The trendy appliance collecting dust. The course you bought, but never started. These aren't just objects, they're reminders of money spent, and we feel like tossing them means admitting we made a mistake. But here's what helped me shift the money as already spent. Keeping the item doesn't get it back. All it does is turn a sunk cost into a source of daily tension. Now I ask, is this helping me or haunting me if it's the second I let it go? Sometimes I'll offer it to a friend, but more often I just release it. And that feeling of finally being done with the guilt is worth more than whatever I paid. It's not about waste. It's about freedom from regret. The things with nowhere to go. Even after decluttering, I noticed certain objects kept floating around, always out of place, always needing to be moved before I could clean or sit down. The problem wasn't volume. It was that these things didn't have a home. Remote controls, spare keys, receipts I might need. They weren't clutter, but they didn't belong anywhere either. That tiny friction day after day started to wear on me. Now I take a few minutes once a month to ask what keeps getting left out, and then I give it a home. A tray, a pouch, a labeled box, nothing fancy, just something repeatable. When everything has somewhere to go, tidying stops being a task. It becomes automatic, and the space around me feels more like it's working with me, not against me. That's the kind of simplicity that sticks. Even small choices like tossing an expired bottle or letting go of a project you're not finishing can free up space you didn't realize was draining you. The more I let go, the easier everything else felt. Less visual noise, fewer unfinished reminders, more room to think clearly and move through the day without feeling behind. This doesn't have to be a massive clean out, just a quiet rhythm built into the week that slowly clears what doesn't serve you anymore. If this video felt helpful, feel free to like or subscribe. It helps support content that meets you where you are, without the pressure.